Hey, look, if y'all could hear the conversations we done had before this podcast, this would be a completely different podcast. But thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of the Traveling Hoopers podcast. I am your host, Alan Pettigrew Jr., and in front of me are my two best friends in the world, Philip and Calvin. Guys, go ahead and let the people hear your voice.
Once again, everybody, I'm Calvin McGowan. It's a pleasure to be here. And, today we're going to be talking about college basketball, which is really all I've been watching since the college basketball season started. So this will be fun.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Philip Dixon, aka Hawaiian Brother. How you doing today?
We doing good. Guys, we're gonna go ahead and get straight into the madness. It was feast week, so we had a lot of good games. Michigan State, Kentucky, interesting. Kansas against whoever was just a good game, and that's where we're gonna start today. We're gonna start with the Jayhawks because 2 out of 3 people on this podcast are Jayhawks fans. One is a KU graduate. The other one likes Memphis, so we don't even need to mention it. Team.
Wow.
Well,
that was rude and uncalled for.
it was very called for. We are still the reigning champions. Everybody else is beneath us until we decide to take our foot or our wing off y'all neck. You feel me?
Didn't y'all just lose to Tennessee?
Also, birds have like talons, so you could have stayed with foot. You didn't have to say wings. Continue.
It's a very thin foot, though. You feel me? Like, it's not very big.
Sure, but like that still doesn't mean it's not a foot, though. Anyways, um, um, you know that wasn't called for Calvin, but Calvin, you guys do have Imani. Oh, no, you lost him.
No,
You
no.
guys do have
He's in Eastern Michigan now.
and going
Killing
off
it, by the way.
and killing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like he is from Michigan, but he killing. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
Like
he's getting buckets.
he getting buckets. No, but you guys have Mikey. We hope he didn't peak too early. Williams coming to your team too. So you know, go Memphis.
Like,
Hey,
Penny's been out on the recruiting trail.
crazy.
So what?
That Memphis recruiting class is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, not to harp on Memphis for too long, but they've had a couple they've had a couple good recruiting classes that have equal up to nothing. So like, in I don't want to say this, but I will. At some point, you got to question not the getting the talent there, but what is happening to the talent once they are there, and that is with the main coach, right, being Penny Hardaway. So when do we start to question his coaching ability? Not recruiting ability, but in-season coaching ability. When does that start to come into question?
Mind your business. He's getting draft picks. We need to be happy that we get one. You feel me?
I mean, no. This is a legitimate question, right? Because now,
Like, so what are you expecting exactly?
Is this what year 4?
of
Yeah.
having 3+ years of like really good draft.
Through COVID. Through COVID. By the way.
There-
2 of those years are through COVID.
Ain't no excuse. Um,
You can't work like that.
I mean,
man.
Yeah.
he just
come
had
to
his
college.
first tournament appearance.
so what?
Like, we were just in the tournament.
Yeah, but like Memphis with the recruiting classes shouldn't have the exact same expectations as Hampton, right? Making it to the tournament. We made it to the big dance. With your kind of recruiting classes you guys got, it should be, the expectation should be higher. But like,
But-
that also is taken into consideration, like just like the recruiting classes have in a general sense currently, and the
But
last
it's also,
couple
but
years.
like, Penny's not exact. Like, bro, can we table this one?
We here, baby.
Fuck. Okay, but look, like Penny has not been a college coach very long, right? Before that he was a high school coach, and then I think a middle school coach for a little while before that. Like, there's a learning curve,
Yeah.
and as somebody who's watched him, I do think he is learning. The starts to a lot of the seasons have been kind of rough though.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So even when the team kind of does get its stuff together, it's like you blew a lot of your chances right, to get the really good wins out of conference. But like I'm not too concerned. It doesn't seem like he's as a coach he's stagnated or gotten worse or anything.
Now, that was just a legitimate question.
And like, let's be real for a second. Pretend for a second. Let's just say, all right, that like Penny's not it. Who would we get to come to Memphis?
Okay.
No. This is a question. This and like, who would you bring to Memphis? Who would do better than Penny's done right now?
In terms of coaching?
Yeah.
In recruiting.
No one. I mean, no. I'm sure there's someone, right? But like, I don't know personally myself.
And that's kind of the point, isn't it?
It is. But these weren't solidified questions or statements, I guess. They're legitimate questions because I don't watch Memphis on a regular basis, right? This is I'm not a fan. As Alan mentioned earlier, I am a Jayhawk fan, right? A KU fan. But like, I truly just didn't know because it in my mind it could have went two ways. It could have went either you blame Penny for like not being as successful as one would think they would be with the recruiting classes they've had for the last 3 years, or you understand as like a fan of Memphis, right? I mean the boosters, all the people that like have some kind of control over, the employment of Penny, right? It's either that first thing, or secondly, it could be you know where Memphis in terms of the basketball program was, and you see where it is now, and you are just like, okay, we are strides and significantly better than what we have been for the last decade, 2 decades, whatever it's been. So we're better than that, but we'll give them a lot more time and a lot more leeway because we know we can get even better with that. Just on top of that, over the last maybe the last 10 years to the last 5 years or whatever it has been, or 4 years, right? And it's just like, I was just curious about like what the mentality was in that scenario, in your opinion.
So just speaking for myself, like when Penny got there, you kind of gotta give him, like, obviously, like the recruiting was great. Coaching, you got to give him some time to, get adjusted. Fairness, he did like tend to try and bring on dudes who had more experience than him.
Yeah.
Right in the college coaching realm, which I do think has helped him. He's been really good at coaching defense. Right, like we've had really good defenses. The offenses have been suspect. Like it hasn't been. The offense has been very good on any kind of consistent basis. One of the things with Bates was like we played our best ball last year, like after like he stopped playing pretty much. Right?
Yeah.
And so like he didn't really play most of conference. And Penny didn't just immediately insert him back into the lineup.
For sure,
like I think he played a couple minutes against Gonzaga. That was a good game.
I just,
but
and with the Amani Bates,
like obviously, like at some point, right, you would like more consistent success, right? Like coming out the gate with like getting those wins that he wants to get. And
so
stuff.
like, okay, so two things. One, when it comes to Amani Bates, it seems to me, and you got correct me wrong, it seems to me that even from high school to where he is now, he thrives in situations to where he knows he is quote unquote the man, right? If he has to delegate any kind of responsibility in terms of like, being the head honcho of that team, that he doesn't tend to do well or as well as he does in those other situations. But that does not bode well for the NBA because he can be the best player on the team, right? If he plays for a really, really bad team, right? If he plays for the Charlotte Bobcats, right? And yes, I know what I did, the Charlotte Bobcats. But if he plays for contenders and all kind of stuff, in terms of delegation, from what we've seen so far, he does not do well with that. From what we've seen. So real quick, that's the first thing. Second thing is when it comes to Penny himself in the Memphis kind of program, the expectations of him just because he's Penny Hardaway were high immediately. Unfair high, I think. Right? They're unfairly high. In that I have in some ways fallen victim to that same kind of mentality, just putting him on a pedestal just because it's Penny Hardaway, right? You know, when you have a person who was like a really, really, really good player in the NBA, you know, they don't get as much give, right, as some other people would. Maybe a person who didn't play in the NBA, right? And that in many ways that's not fair, but that is a reality of things. So I think that also has something to do with the fact of why I even brought the question in the first place, right? Like I once again have fallen victim myself to the fact that it's Penny Hardaway, like he should be good, boom, 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 right? So it's because it's good that I'm not in control of that organization in that college because I should not be falling victim to such ridiculous thought processes.
I'm glad you realized that.
Listen, I learned. I don't know if you know this, but like I understand when I'm just like I'm able to adapt.
Yeah. You went full media mode. I'm proud of you for coming back.
Absolutely. You know, listen, this is what I do. Sometimes.
Where's your love for the game? I know how we're gonna get it out. We're gonna actually talk about the Kansas Jayhawks now.
Okay.
We have holes.
Yeah.
We do. As a team, we have holes. I don't care.
Question.
What's
Was
up?
Rice hurt to start the season?
He was hurt to start the season, but he has played games prior to Feast Week, which I am concerned about because you know we don't do well with these highly coveted 4-star, 5-star guards who are score first. MJ Rice is a bit score first. Like that's his bread and butter because he's 6'5", 225 pounds, built like the Ninja Turtles, and nobody's really going to stop him once he gets ahead of steam. But that also requires him to have a good amount of the ball in his hands, and I don't see him as a off the ball scorer like that. So I think I want him to stick around. I do not want him to take the Bryce Thompson route where he goes to another school. Stay here. Be our crown jewel. Be Jalen Wilson next year. Because Jalen Wilson's probably going to leave. Jason, depending on what his season's like, probably going to leave.
No. Listen. He gonna leave.
But here's the thing: if he stays for the 4th year, I don't think he's gonna have a Drew Timmy like face of college basketball, but he'll be one of them. He'll be top 10 easy.
For sure, right? I mean, people, especially
in the NIL money.
They love in the NIL era that we're in now. They love a 4-year starter, or not starter, but a 4-year player, right? Who's starting for the 4th year, right? That's a thing that college basketball is going to start like kind of revitalizing a love for, right? Since a one and done, it's like okay, that era is over with. That era was from like what 2012 through like 2012
I
through
don't
like
think it's over like that, but
I mean, but like it's over in terms of showcasing, I think, in many ways. Because like right now,
people like new things.
Sure, but like right now, you're not seeing, the Jabari, or they're not being showcased in the terms of how Jabari Parker was showcased and Wiggins was showcased in, Anthony Davis. Like it's just the way it's all PR, right? It's all PR. So the PR,
A lot of
what I'm
dudes have
saying
been
is
kind of
the
hurt
PR
to
right
start
now.
the year.
Say it again.
Like a lot of dudes, a weird number of dudes have been kind of like hurt and stuff to start the season.
Yeah. Not only that, COVID the last 2 years really messed up how we kind of push freshmen. Think about how we did for Zion. Even with Zion just coming in before he played a game, that was the last one before COVID, and we was riding that boy. Like that's the only thing we talked about for what 4 months.
Yeah, but
He had a national
I
team
don't
game
think,
every
but
single
okay,
week.
you're right. COVID did have something to do with that in terms of PR. But I do think, seriously, with the NILs and all kind of stuff, that college is going to double down on this. What makes us unique? What makes us special thing? Especially now with the players able to go to the G League, they're gonna focus on that. And what makes college unique? The 3rd year, the 4th year players, right? Of college that Gonzaga is gonna have a lot to deal with too. Sure, they had Chet, but like You honestly, overall, you saw just as much as old what's his name? He's overseas now. Headband for Gonzaga. He's not there right now, but he was there last year.
You're not talking about
The jump shooter.
Big man.
Yeah, man.
You're not talking about Drew Timmy because Drew Timmy's still there.
Okay, Drew Timmy, right?
Yeah.
You saw just as much as him. You saw Chet.
I mean, they were starters.
100% you did.
Of Drew and Chet, but I also have my blinders for Chet.
Yeah, but like as a person who didn't have blinders on, you 100% saw him just as much, right? And so I think that's what college basketball is probably gonna do coming up. But like even right now, like you see Dewan Harris for KU, right? And he's getting showcased. And what is he? He's senior. He's a senior.
He's junior.
He a junior. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, this man went to Missouri State. Then he transferred over. Then he a redshirt freshman, and then he a freshman. Like man, that man.
Juan Harris, the point guard.
Yeah, the point guard.
He go to Missouri State.
He transferred to KU.
You probably right.
He transferred to KU. Yes.
Like you said, Juan Harris.
D-U Juan or D-E Juan, whatever his name is. Or how you spell it?
DA.
The D-A?
I'm looking right at it. Yeah.
Yeah, that man been Kansas. So
nah, he came from somewhere else.
No,
and
he
and then
bro,
Christian Braun.
listen, he was at he enrolled early.
No, I promise you he didn't.
Oh, I'm looking at I got his stuff pulled up.
You got his transcripts? What are you talking about looking at? Bro, I'm looking at his transcripts right now.
You're stupid. No,
he never attended Missouri State. He decommitted and then went to Kansas.
Okay.
You went to school together. Come on, man.
Yeah, and I played basketball with him a lot.
Exactly.
But listen, I'm not riding this man like you rode Zion, right? I'm just talking, right?
I mean, he's also not putting up numbers like Zion.
But ESP, look, I promise you, the other day when they were playing, before they played Wisconsin, who did they play? Who did they play? They played Tennessee before Tennessee plays Wisconsin, and for Wisconsin, and then whoever they played.
No, they played Tennessee after Wisconsin.
They played Tennessee, then they played Wisconsin, and then they played somewhere else the first game.
They played Duke before that.
Yes, okay, they played Duke, and the announcer 100% was like, "Oh yeah, he went to Missouri State," and then Christian Braun, Christian Braun was the reason he got to KU, which is true, but he didn't go to Missouri State. He committed to Missouri State and then decommitted away. Okay, so, but even him, right? He's a junior. So that's still a third year, right? And he's a redshirt freshman, so he's the age of somebody who's a senior. They're going to push those people for KU more than anybody else, right?
I mean, KU's been fairly good about getting old and staying old, which is kind of important to being good at college.
But they usually always have like one or two young players, right? They usually have one or two, right? I mean, you can go back for a decade and kind of showcase that to be the thing, right? All the way to Xavier Henry. But I think that Kansas. I also think, for my point of college basketball, kind of showcasing like the juniors and seniors, Kansas winning also helps that to be the case, because that is the way that Kansas. And yes, they have one or two, freshmen that come through, but they usually have, as you mentioned earlier, Calvin. They have a foundation of the juniors and seniors, and them winning is like, oh, the winning formula. You know how basketball is. The winning formula. All it took was John Calipari to start doing this one and done thing. All of a sudden, every school was trying to do it, right? So basketball in college, just like all the sports, it's very trendy. So I think for sure Kansas winning last year will have something to do with the leading into this new like era of college basketball to a degree in terms of PR at least.
But I'm okay, maybe PR, but I'm just like
unprofessional.
Let me talk mine.
I don't even know who called. This is just a random number. I also thought I had that off. Anyway, I don't even remember what I was gonna say no more. Dang it.
Mm, mm, mm.
Oh yeah. Like maybe from like a PR standpoint, but like the thing is, you look at who actually tends to win NCAA tournaments. They tend to be older teams. The only real exception was that one Kentucky team.
Don't forget about the Dukes.
The Jabari Parker and who was it? Jabari Parker? No, it was Jaleel Okafor and what's his name? Plays
Grayson
for
Allen.
Winslow.
no, not Grayson Allen.
Grayson Allen was there though.
Was he there?
Winslow.
Yeah, he
Justice
made
Winslow.
good plays in that game.
It was like Justice Winslow.
Trey,
Justice Winslow, Trey.
not Trey Jones.
No, what's his name?
Mm-mm.
Little short man plays for
Tyus Jones.
Tyus Jones. Yes, I
Yeah.
hate him. I don't like his game at all.
I like him.
I don't like his game at all.
Works for me.
That's because you don't like it because there's no flair.
You said what?
There's no flair in Tyus's game.
I didn't think he was all that in college.
But that's part of his game. His game is just like, I'm gonna get it done. Like it's not gonna be a big deal. It's just
100%, right?
I'm gonna get it done.
In a lot of ways, I'm just like, you just like, if Trey Young is Target, Tyus Jones is Aldi, right? Like he just feels off brand. He feels great value. Am I wrong? What?
I wouldn't go with that.
This seems out of pocket in a variety of ways.
He just seems a little boring. Like his game just isn't flashy. He's
one of those dudes that will be in the league for 10, 12 years, and that will know about him. But then 20 years ago, you're gonna watch somebody play basketball in high school and college. Go, man, he reminds me of Trey Jones, and somebody's kids gonna be like, who?
I mean, isn't that most of the dudes in the league though?
But he's got a kind of game where you're gonna go, his game reminds me of. You know what I mean? No one's gonna be like, yeah, his game reminds me of Thaddeus Young. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody gonna say that.
Keep it pushing. This is an old head conversation. And as a person who's realizing that they getting kind of old, I can't continue to have this one. This is full of bad vibes. We gotta talk about the young boys from Kansas, yo. We gotta go back to them. Hey, if y'all have been watching this podcast over the past 2 or 3 years, then you have heard me talk about certain players in this incoming Kansas class. And one of them is Grady Dick. And Grady Dick has been going crazy for a freshman over the last couple of years. I remember at one point, preseason, they were talking like, is Grady Dick good enough to be a first-round draft pick? It doesn't take much to really pass the eye test to know if somebody's going to do it. He is 6'8". He is athletic. He is long. And he shoots the ball really well. That's kind of the formula to be a draft pick these days.
Yeah, he what's the word? Nice. It's not. Listen, his shot, your confidence can go in a lot of the times. Period. Like the way he shoots, no. It's the same exact motion every single time. I don't care if it's open or it's not open, or it's less open, I guess. And then he will just go on streaks, but not on streaks because he's making them then missing them. On streaks because he's not taking shots. But when he shoots, it's that's gonna go in. Like you have full on confidence that most of his shots are gonna go in. And this is a freshman who's been playing 5-6 games so far. That is not what you normally see, especially from shooting. You know what I mean? The guy's 6'8" too, which is also goes along with how kind of incredible it is.
Yeah. All he needs to do is for the rest of the season average 15 points a game, shoot about 38% from three. It's a lot. It's a lot, and we had questions if we were going to have a draft pick this year. It's Kansas. We got one every year. We might not remember him, but we got one every year.
I didn't know that he was a Gatorade National Player of the Year.
At this point, I'm about to give y'all the game. 4 highly rated freshmen or high school basketball players. Their freshman year is a formality. It is a formality. It's something that they have to do. And there's a reason why we always have that 1 or 2 freshmen that go out a little too early, but they still get drafted in the first round with awful stats because they have a long enough history and track record in high school that it doesn't matter. The people that they're playing against in college are already part of their draft cohort. We've already seen them play them kids for at least 4 different years on travel circuits. And if you watched any of Grady Dick's games at Sunrise Christian, you know, especially that after his senior year, that's the one. Like, he's fine. Like, we actually let him dribble the ball, half moves, and do it against the top guys from that are going to Michigan, the top guys that are going to Duke. Like, he's already proven it against people in his age range. Like, a year or two older is it's like nothing new for this kid. Like, I've said this just about every year since we started talking about Grady Dick on this platform. This is the fully realized version of Speed Mikhailuk. When we talked about Speed Mikhailuk in 2017, he was supposed to have everything this kid has right now. He's 6'8", he's athletic. There was a chance he would be a defender, but there's a couple things wrong with his game that won't allow him to be a good defender. But you have the significant size and athleticism. There's a chance. There's a chance you'll be able to hold somebody. And that's exactly what we have with Grady Dick. Like,
never liked Speed's game. Never.
That's because he's timid. He's timid.
No, never. Like, even as a KU fan, I legitimately didn't like his game. Yes, because he was timid, but also because I never thought he was as good a shooter as everybody thought he was.
That's part of the issue too. He completely lied on his resume. I'm okay that he got into school, but he completely lied on his resume.
Yeah, I mean, like, it is. People were like, "Oh, he's such a good shooter." I'm like, not really. Like, Devontae Graham and Frank Mason shoot better than him. Like they do, but Kansas has what? Every year they have that one white boy shooter. That's like him. Grady. They had Brady Morningstar. They had Connor Tien. They had every single year they got somebody, right? And Svi was just happened to be that guy also, but he was not the best shooter on that team.
Oh no,
right? He wasn't. Devontae Graham was 100%. He just didn't hold on to the ball primarily like they did, right?
Also because he could not dribble.
He couldn't, right?
He can't.
Also, I beat him in pool once. I think that needs to be said out loud too. So he wasn't good at that either. Come on now, I'm not even good. What's going on? But this new kid, Grady, just the way he plays the game is so fluid. And I think it also helps that they don't have a ball dominant point guard, right? Like, DeJuan brings the ball up, but he is known for defense and distributing the ball. That's like what he's known for, right? I mean, he is they're talking about him as one of the best point guards in the country, right? That's like the way they're presenting him, talking about him. Is it true? I'll have to see some of the point guards because I'm not quite sure. If scoring's not in your top 3 things you do best on the court, in 2022, I'm not sure I could say that you're one of the best college point guards in the country. But once again, the commentary and stuff like that, they're saying this. But with a point guard like that, for the team this is right now for the University of Kansas, it is necessary and good because everybody's getting their shots in the spots they want and don't have to kind of filtrate around, the point guard and what they want to do. You know what I mean? So I think this is like a great scenario for him. And yeah, the guy can cook. Like, it's kind of just crazy. Like, he's a freshman and he's cooking like this already.
All I wanted to say with it was just like the thing about right? Grady Dick. Is it like he moves off ball really well,
Yeah.
right? He's the kind of dude who could probably play with just about anybody. He's got that kind of game. Granted, I don't quite trust his handle. Like I wouldn't put him in an isolation situation. I don't think he'd excel in those. But like off ball, right? He can get himself open. He can get the kind of shots that he likes. And Kansas has been doing well. Kansas is, except the game against Tennessee notwithstanding.
Yeah, but get him out of the way early, right? Get him out of the way early. Like every year, we're gonna end up winning like 8 games in a row, and then we're gonna end up dusting Baylor and dusting Oklahoma State and Oklahoma, and then we're gonna go to the championship. We're gonna go to the championship. We're gonna go to the NCAA tournament. But I like the way this team this year is formatted for University of Kansas a lot, actually. Mainly because so many of the players do move off the ball well. I think that's one of the reasons why. They didn't have a point guard that's pass first and move off the ball. That is a product of success. And they're like grimy and play defense. They have just enough players that really want to play defense and dig down and play defense. I think with enough time and enough like continuity and stuff like that, they will be successful.
Yeah. Weirdly, I think this is the Kansas team that I know the least amount of people on. Like normally I can rattle off like the whole roster. I'm probably going like 5 deep this year.
For now. But give it 2 weeks. Give it 2 weeks, and then I guarantee you'll know plenty of them.
All right. Anybody want to talk about Duke? Like I'm not interested in Duke. Duke is
I mean, I'm interested in Derek Whitehead, but I haven't caught any Duke games, so I can't really speak on them.
So apparently Derek Whitehead is back and played like a game or two, but I watched both games. I don't remember any Derek Whitehead minutes.
So you look at the box scores, he hasn't played that much. He's been coming off the bench. Like they've been easing him back in.
Yeah. And then their big man that got a lot of hype coming in. I'm not talking about Kyle Filipowski or everybody.
Lively?
Yeah, Lively. I kind of had an inkling that he would struggle, but I didn't think it was this bad. Like, he looks lost out there. And I understand that Derek and Lively both have, like, they're coming off injuries. But it does not look good for them.
Did you watch that Michigan? Was it Michigan State? Yeah, Michigan State.
Yeah,
Bama.
Who they play against? The one that went overtime.
Talking about the Bama game?
No, Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
Michigan State.
I didn't get
the double overtime game.
They did one of the most beautiful out of bounds plays I've ever seen in my life. Like, no joke, it happened, and I was in awe.
You talking about the switch? Bounds?
I've
only seen that one other time in a state tournament game down here last year. And I was waiting for somebody to blow their whistle because I was like, that can't be legal. I don't know what that is.
You got to know the rules of the game is what that is. Like to pull it off, you have to just know the rules, right?
Exactly.
And like you got to trust the ref to know the rules too. But like the player gets the ball and all of a sudden some people start taking off. Then another person comes into bounds. They pass the ball to the next person out of bounds, and the other person just takes off running, and they throw a lob. They do a baseball pass over the top of everybody. That was the most perfect play for a full court, send it into double overtime scenario that I think I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, of course it'd be Tom Izzo to do something like that. You know what I mean? Like I'm not on that Tom Izzo hype train by any means. I think he's a really, really good coach. But like that was crazy.
Calipari?
Huh?
Better than Calipari?
1,000. Tom Izzo didn't have. Tom Izzo
definitely is an X's and O's guy.
Tom Izzo never had Derrick Rose, didn't have Tyreek Evans, didn't have Anthony Davis, but Tom Izzo did have Draymond Green,
the legend, the best defensive player of all time, Draymond Green.
Okay, shut up. He did have Cameron Payne. Remember him?
Legend.
Miles Bridges.
Wait, Cam Payne played at Murray State?
No, not Cameron Payne. Something Payne. Remember that little
Adrian Payne.
Payne,
Adrian Payne.
RP. Get it right. Come on.
Yeah, he
Man.
passed away. But like he ain't had nobody. Well, they had Magic Johnson, but he wasn't coaching. You know what I mean?
Miles Bridges.
They ain't had nobody.
That's
Right?
disrespectful.
So when you don't got nobody, you gotta make gotta make plays.
There was a
like
problem in college.
that. So what?
Like he was good in college. I liked him.
Sure, he was good, but I'm talking about what Kyle Perry compared to what Kyle Perry's had. You know what I mean? This man had Devin Booker, who was like not the best player on that team. You know what I mean? So it's
That was just a wild team. That stuff was disrespectful because a lot of the dudes who were supposed to be one and dones came back. They were just he was just sending in 5 new guys.
That's the
in
platoon
substitutions.
year, right? That's the platoon year, right?
Yeah,
that's the Tyler Ulis year.
second Tyler Ulis year.
I was a Tyler Ulis fan, but
Yeah, he was good.
Exactly, but like it was during that time. You know what I mean? Tom Izzo hasn't had anybody, so these are X's and no guys, and really comes up with that crazy play. I'm like, I respect this like no other, right? Once again, that's just knowing the rules of the game, hoping the referees also know the rules of the game, because that's one of the things that if you run it once, you can't run it again.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Izzo said one of his assistants came up with that play. So the fact that he even has the bench to come up with that, crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But that was a really good and bad game at the same time. Like it was I don't like watching Kentucky until SEC play.
It's hilarious because I like 1,000% understand that.
Dude, it's been the formula for at least 5-6 years now. When they first get them in the first half, they do put them in the big showcases because they're Kentucky. But they're going to, if they win, it's because of talent. If they don't win, it's because of the same reason. Like, they just don't know how to play together. And then by the time you get the SEC play, they're just like, oh, here comes Kentucky in February. I'm tired of hearing the narrative. We all know what it is. Like, it just takes them a while to gel. And it's talent, like, every single time. Like, I don't maybe Kyler Perry is like the most annoying like motivator in the world, and like him talking to you crazy or giving you guidance for like 6-7 months really like pushes you into shape. But I have no idea what he does directly on the court. Like I might have to find like a YouTube video for like a deep dive and really be like, here are the X's and O's for Kyler Perry. I don't know.
I mean, I feel like his X's and O's would like change a lot year to year, given the way he recruits. Like he has stuff he likes, right? Like he likes bigs that play out.
He got like a type of player. Like I can tell you that. He has a type of player. Like I don't know what he does offensively. I don't know his trademark.
Like that's more or less what I'm saying. Like I don't think he has one. The way he recruits, you don't really get to have trademarks. You get your players and figure out how to make them fit.
Yeah, but the one and done stuff is maybe 15 years of his career. He had like 20 years before this. Like I'm not sure what it is before that.
I mean,
going to NBA.
I wasn't paying attention then, so I can't really speak to that.
Me either, but like his best years were like when he got a superstar.
Like his best years have also been years when dudes came back. Right? Like except for like the Nerlens Noel year, but like Noel got hurt and stuff. Like,
that was year.
It was kind of a rough year for them.
NIL.
NIT, boy.
Yeah,
have they been since?
Nah, I don't think so. Like that man gets the tournament pretty much every year with a bunch of deep runs.
February games.
And
it's all because of the February games. I can think of about like 2 years. If it wasn't for like them shaping up towards the end, they're not making it.
I mean, like the thing is though, if they do it every year at some point, like that's just how his teams are. Like It's just part of the process at this point. That doesn't mean like if they don't play like a ranked team, you should rank them in December. But like I don't know, it's just part of his stuff at this point.
Mm-hmm.
If I may though, I've got a question. What do we think about Brandon Miller?
I'm in. I haven't seen any Alabama games though, but
I
based
also
on what I saw in high school, I'm in. I'm in. I don't care what type of stretch he hits this year where he's just like he looks really bad. He could have 10 games where he plays 23 minutes and scores 0 points and misses all of his field goals for 10 games straight. I'll still be in.
Why are you in? That's such a drastic thing to say, but like I'm still in. Why are you still in after all that?
Wildly athletic, 6'7", big body, has a pull up jumper. You're just gonna eventually make that work. That's overall.
Not true, though. Like to eventually make that work, like that's not true, right? I mean,
So like the reason I ask, right? Because I caught some of their game against like Michigan State, like about half of it, and like the thing is, like Miller's stuff, like he, in fairness, he had most of his points. By that point, he was apparently dropping basically everything the first half. But like, it seems like his stuff works. But like, I look at so full disclosure also that like the one game I really got to see him in, he was in high school. He was basically schemed out. Like it was just a really good coaching job on the part of like Mike Miller. Um, but like it seems to work, but like I don't think I quite like it. Like how he I don't know, something I don't quite like. Like I'd have to watch more. Like I don't even necessarily think that means he's bad. It's just like there's something about this that like I'm not a fan of. Like maybe it's like I don't like how's his handle? Like I feel like when I've seen him, he hasn't been. Yeah, okay, maybe that's the issue here.
Yeah, he can't dribble. I'll say that. Like he's not a dude that can put like 2-3 moves together, and I'm okay with that. Dude, the role I see for Brandon Miller at the next level is like your third or fourth option. Your third or fourth option that can guard multiple positions, and yes, he can get schemed out of things. He has holes in his game. He has enough physical tools where if like your third or fourth best defender is guarding him, he's gonna get you probably 12 points a game pretty efficiently. Like at this level, he can y'all name anybody else that's on Alabama's roster right now
Without going back and looking it up,
without going back and looking it up?
I know who the coach is.
Jaden Bradley is the only other person that I can think of on that team, and it's only because I scouted him. That's the only reason why I know offhand. And he shouldn't really be good this year because he can't shoot to save his life.
Like, but yeah, maybe that's my issue. Like he can't like Miller can't really get his own shot.
Yeah, stop making them the number one options. Very easy to kind of like figure it out when you don't have a lot, but you have enough.
Fair enough. Okay. Because just like every time I've heard about him for real, like he like since he's been in college, it's just they're like, oh, like he had this like he put up crazy numbers or something.
Yeah. Look, if you need $1, Brandon Miller got 85 cents.
Yeah, you might be able to make that work.
Some people you can haggle and you can get it for 85 cents. Some people gonna be like, no, I need that full dollar. And I feel like there's a lot of people right now that's like, I need that full dollar. And be like, no, 85 cents is more money than you had before.
You're not wrong.
Am I ever?
Yes. Continue.
Yeah, I was wrong like a couple minutes ago. I was hoping y'all was gonna bring that up, but you know.
But like the SEC play will be fun though.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be
like
Kentucky's winning.
we got Kentucky. Kentucky's good. Bama's good. Tennessee is good. Hold up, wait, is that it? Oh no, Auburn. I forgot about Auburn.
Florida is fun.
Okay, like I haven't really seen much of Florida, but I know Auburn's consistently good. There's at least one or two. Like there's a freshman over there I like, but he was one of many freshmen that just randomly got hurt prior to the season. But oh yeah, Arkansas.
Have you watched any Arkansas?
Absolutely not.
I'm not gonna lie, I meant to. I haven't yet.
Yeah. Anthony Black is getting a lot of hype. I like Anthony Black. I think he's a very next level player. I think I got to see a little bit more because he averaging like 22 a game, and I don't know if that's really
That's fair.
You
Like offensively, just to look at numbers, Walsh has disappointed me a little bit.
Go look at the defensive highlights.
Okay, I might have to.
Yeah.
I might have to.
Like I remember seeing him his junior year and being like, no, he's probably going to have been the best like perimeter defender in his class, and
Okay.
he's looking like it.
What? Nick Smith is still out hurt, which is sad. I was looking forward to seeing all them dudes healthy and like highlights, lots of highlights. I was expecting.
Yeah. Hey, they're well, really everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But those incoming freshmen, everybody's having a really good impact except like Joe Pinion. But I also just don't think he's getting enough play time because of how deep they are.
Who's it? Who'd you say?
Joe Pinion.
Like the thing is, it's a deep team, and like they have a lot of more experienced players, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also, what Brazil, who I guess was a transfer? Yeah, I'm looking at the numbers now. He's doing pretty good, 13-7, along with his steal on the block.
Yeah, and served up two of the craziest posters.
Actually, on good efficiency too.
And he's shooting it.
Yeah, like 41% from the three. Now, whether that's sustainable is a different thing.
Yeah, we're not worried about that right now. Early season, get these boys their flowers now so we can get up out of here later.
Yeah, I guess. I need to catch a Houston game too.
Right? They're number one. They got my third favorite prospect out of this last recruiting cycle. So I gotta go see what my boy Jarris Walker doing.
And it's like right? Like the defense has got to be disgusting.
Also have no idea who they played so far. So
you know what? Give me a moment and I can probably pull it up. Assuming my brain doesn't just decide to clock out.
That's what. Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Podcast. I was about to ask you some questions.
I mean, you can ask them.
Nah, I ain't gonna do you like
that.
So
far, that doesn't look like they. The only team of note they've played so far is Oregon. Looks like kind of a soft non-conference. That said, they still have to play St. Mary's, Bama, and Virginia before they get into conference play.
I guess that's it's decent competition later on. But can you guys think of anything else? I think we're about out of here.
Y'all got news for me. I was like, I'm lost.
I know, staring in the camera like a weirdo.
I low-key thought you might have been drifting off to sleep.
No, I'm just trying to contribute something.
Like I don't got too much. Like I've also watched some women, but the only stuff of note was the South Carolina Stanford game, which it had a really weird ending.
Yeah. Oh, hi Haley.
Wow.
What?
Wow. Okay.
Focus. Go ahead and get out of here.
But nah, because it was just like, what was it? Like I think both Brink and Boston fouled out, and like then Stanford called a timeout that they didn't have, and it was just like, this was an amazing game. This is how it ends.
Shout out to Cameron Brink as well. She absolutely terrifies me as like a competitor. Like her eyes are so piercing. It was like, oh, I'm glad I ain't got to line up against that. Cause I'm hip checking all game. Like I'm not looking at you.
You hip checking all game is crazy.
That's disrespectful.
Hey, you gotta learn how to play some way. Sometimes you got cheat.
Wow. But outside of that, nothing too much to note.
Okay, cool. Well, it's been a fun start to the college basketball season.
Oh, UCLA's women's team is also good. I saw the game they played against Marquette. Kiki Rice is a problem.
Oh yes, most definitely. Anything else?
That's pretty much it. Like,
All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to a college basketball episode of the Traveling Hoopers podcast. Hopefully, for you NBA draft fans, we talked enough about prospects to scratch your itch. If not, next week we'll do better. I promise.
maybe.
Yeah, we'll see. But again, thank you for tuning in. I have been your host, Alan Pettigrew Jr., and in front of me, my two best friends in the world, Calvin McGowan and Philip Dixon, are going to sign us out.
Once again, pleasure to be here. Right, I'm Calvin McGowan. I'm not quite sure what Phil's doing up in the corner, but listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. If you're joining us on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, tell me in the comments. Thank you for sticking with us. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Yes, this is Philip Dixon, aka the Boogeyman, and appreciate you guys for listening, making it this far. Hopefully, if you're all about basketball prospects, we scratched your itch. And thank you for indulging us. Good night.